We started today with 4 players, and in a minute, not exactly a minute, but soon, we're only going to have 3 players left in today's group. It's time for the elimination match. One of these players on stage is going to be booted out of the World Championship Series here in Season 3 of the Premier League. Joining me on the desk this time, we have Sam and Johan. Here's the bracket for everyone at home, just tuning in for the very first time. Team Liquid go to the winners match as Tilo goes up against Mana in our next series. But right now, we have viOLet versus XiGua going toe-to-toe for a position to go to the decider match. And this is a sticky situation. Both of them now lost their first game, and it's all to fight for, Johan.
Yeah, viOLet, though, he had a really tough time in his first match. It didn't look convincing at all. He just kind of died very quickly. And then he tweeted that it was the first time that he had played against this build, which I'm having a hard time thinking that you can only play against this one type of build when you play as many ZvZs as he does. So it's a little bit worrying. You know, we were talking about how he might not be the best shape of his life. You know, he's had a period during which he hasn't posted too many results. Now, XiGua, he didn't play too bad, I think, against Mana. You know, those were very specific games. In the first game, he really got surprised. Second game, kind of got surprised again by the same thing, but then defended and really brought it back with Mana overextended. This series, like, definitely was harder fought than viOLet's. Can we read into this and say that XiGua is doing better than viOLet right now? Maybe in the head-to-head it won't matter.
Maybe it won't matter, but very important match for XiGua now, as every other Chinese player behind him has failed at this very stage. And now it's time for him to hopefully turn it around to have that Chinese representation at the season finals. But he goes up now against viOLet, and he didn't have the best of starts today, Sam.
He didn't indeed, and I was speaking to viOLet a little bit upstairs actually, and he was saying how his ZvZ, it used to be his best matchup actually, back in 2013 in the New York MLG Arena days and the IPL days, where he was actually able to take multiple tournament victories, but as of late, it's not his comfortable matchup, and XiGua on the other hand, he beat Tudming 3-0 to get here. That's pretty convincing in my opinion. Tudming is one of the better Zergs in China. So the fact that he was able to do that so convincingly, viOLet's got to be shaken a little bit. I
mean, viOLet this year has been a bit of lackluster, to be fair, compared to his other years. What do you think that's down to?
Well, you know what? Like I said, I was speaking to him upstairs and he was like, yeah, I'm sharing a house with Polt and Stardust now. And 3 Koreans together in America, obviously they're going to be having a good time. They're not going to be practicing as much as probably what they usually are. So my thoughts are probably that he's just enjoying himself a little bit too much, maybe not focusing as much as what he should be. But then again, Polt's still getting the results. So I don't know, it's hard to say.
I think it's very hard. Sorry, maybe I wasn't invited to answer, but I will anyway. I think it's very hard over the course of many, many years to always be trying your very hardest in pro gaming. You know, to be able to go from month to month, year to year, and put in a crazy amount of game, always have the same motivation. It's something that's extremely hard. And I think you can definitely attest to that as well, Bling. And maybe viOLet has hit that time where like it's hard to play as much as he used to, and that shows in his shape.
Yeah, definitely. He's played in the Premier League twice this year, and he's finished in the round of 32 twice. Wasn't able to get past this stage. Maybe today's the day. The map order is ready for this best of 3. Our second Zerg versus Zerg of the evening now. And we saw a very fast and furious one to kick off the day, and we're going to be bringing you those maps in a couple of seconds here. Do we expect a same type of paced up game?
Well, I mean, I was the one who predicted we're going to see standard games in the first series, so Bling, it's all you, man.
It's a funny one because it seems like the better Chinese players, when they go up against the Chinese players, which is what I've gotten to see the most, the better ones actually play more of a defensive style. But when it comes to playing against foreigners and Koreans, they turn into this aggressive, non-stop, just relentless type of player. So XiGua, he can play both styles, that's for sure, but it's hard to say which style he's going to bring to this series.
And the 3 maps here, Bridgehead, Moonlight, and Terraform. 3 new maps to the season for Season 3, and some maps that we haven't even seen Zerg vs Zerg on at all. So are we expecting fireworks, or, as you say, maybe more of a defensive setup?
I don't think it's too map dependent. If we look at the first series, it seemed like viOLet was definitely ready to play that later stage of ZvZ. even trying to skip, the bailiness in map number 1. I think he probably wants to play with roaches against roaches, and he'd be happy to. Whereas XiGua, he was watching that first series. Maybe he's like, well, this guy can't even hold the basic circling, bailing all in. Maybe I'll just do one of those. Or maybe he's going to be happy to go into roaches. I feel like it's probably going to come down more to XiGua if we see some aggression.
Yeah, I think we haven't really seen, we haven't seen any macro games yet in ZvZ so far, but I think the Moonlight Madness map is something to note because that really opts towards a gasless type of style, and it's really kind of easier to go into those later stages of the game. So that's going to be one to watch, in my opinion. I think we're going to get a good game off that one.
All right, definitely going to be looking forward to that one. Before we go to the commentary team, one quick question, prediction. Who's going forward and who's going home, Todd?
Me first.
Todd.
As always.
As always, you have to go first. French first.
I think viOLet's going to win this 2-1.
I think XiGua is going to win this one 2-1.
Of course you went against you, Todd.
Your loss.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now it is time to go for the commentary team. One of these players has been eliminated. Which one's it going to be? Let's find out with Kalaris and Pig.
An important moment for both of these players now, as both of them don't want to be stuck in that kind of round of 32 mentality anymore. viOLet obviously have posted fantastic results in the past few years, since then falling back a little bit. And of course XiGua, who wants to represent China in Poland. Bridgehead will be our first map as we get loaded up into the first game here. And so, what do you make of it, Pig?
Bridgehead's an interesting map to start. Both these guys, they've got aggressive histories. They're capable of a lot of things. They've done great things in the past.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 1 here, as we do have spawning over to the right-hand side. It is our blue Zerg representing Team Envious. It is viOLet.
Looking very focused there. Definitely wants to be coming back hard here.
And spawning up to the top left-ish as our red Zerg, representing Invictus Gaming, it is XiGua.
He made his name for himself back in 2011, started having a lot of great performances. Did come second place in the World Cyber Games back then. Was a big tournament back in the day. And going here into Bridgehead, it is interesting. What's running through both of these players' minds? One thing on this map is that because the rush distance main to main base isn't actually that far, sometimes people go for a 10-pool baneling, some cheesy plays, but looks like this time around both players are just going to be going for the slightly more conservative play. And you got to keep in mind, the Overlords are going to be able to get into each other's bases very early on and start to scout each other out.
Having a little bit of sniff around and seeing what is going on. Of course, viOLet's going to open up things with a spawning pool first up against XiGua, who decides to go for hatchery first in the back here. So, as Bridgehead in Zerg versus Zerg, how does the map layout work out here, Pig? Because obviously there are those big back rocks towards the back of the maps here, which can eventually open up alternate attack paths. Is this something that's a big defining factor of Zerg versus Zerg?
It absolutely is. I mean, if you end up in Roach versus Roach wars, there's usually not a lot of chance to get to Infestors or Hydralisks because you've got those 2 big frontal avenues to attack, and you can even attack from down in your opponent's 4th base, which makes it like a 3rd avenue to attack, and that's a lot of different directions Roaches can come in. So usually if it's Roach versus Roach, it kind of devolves into tunneling claw Roaches and counterattacks, and it's all about getting on the map and trying to kind of backstab each other, and it's a real war of positioning. It's actually very exciting to watch. However, we don't always see that because the bases are quite spread out. And that means Mutalisks are quite effective because there's a lot of space to cover with Spore Crawlers, with Queens. So that's another way to play. And often, if players open up that way, they love to try and get up towards the Hive Tech, the Ultralisks, the Broodlords.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times, especially in Challenger with Zanster showing us it oh so well. With him now moving on to the round of 16, of course, in one of our previous groups. But that's one of the things that makes this map so exciting for me as a spectator and commentator. I can imagine as a player, Pig, this can be a nightmare of a map sometimes, having to deal with all of these angles, but it does make the games very exciting to watch.
It really does. It takes takes away the static element of play, and that's why I love playing on these maps. I find them very enjoyable, actually, because I love those mid-game action-packed games, and these two guys, it's pretty much their style, no matter what map they're on, is they love to fight in the mid-game. Now, interestingly, both players went for quite a late gas, but XiGua, I believe he actually cancelled his after showing it to viOLet's Overlord. So it looks like XiGua wants to play a full gasless style and just playing a bit of a mind game there so that, you know, try and tricking his opponent so he's not aware of what's going on. But even viOLet's gas is very late. So both players look like they're not rushing up to the Baneling phase of the game. Both players will probably skip a Baneling nest altogether, and we'll most likely see both players head towards roaches.
We've seen some very interesting walls on this map as well, as we look at where viOLet's queens are positioned. Sometimes you see evolution chambers positioned in between the gas guys at a mineral line and then up towards the top, and then just creating these strange walls where you're not necessarily incorporating the ramp when that actually comes into play. But already a lot of gas been taken up now by XiGua towards the top to try and compensate for the fact they didn't have it before.
Yeah, going to go for that double gas. Meanwhile, viOLet here going for a very fast lair. Looks very much like what I love to call the Snoot build. He was the guy that popularized it. Fast lair, going to drop an Evo and a Roach Warren soon after. And from that, he is going to be going into a very fast Roach speed and +1 range attack. And that opens up a very strong timing, a point in the game where he has those fantastic upgrades and he can do a big, powerful Roach attack. Whereas XiGua, he's going to be a little bit slowed down in those regards, and he's going to be just a little bit behind on those upgrades.
All right, so it looks like we are seeing the more standard walls come in here from both of these players now, with obviously these queens just going to be opening this up. Roach Warren's gone down for both players now as well. So they are really gearing up for the true standard traditional mid-game.
Interestingly, viOLet has kind of found himself a few drones ahead throughout this entire build-up phase. I thought that would disappear after a little moment, but viOLet seems to just be a little bit more efficient in his economy. He has opened up with just 3 queens, whereas XiGua has opened up with 4. So XiGua is going to have a lot more transfuse energy, a bit more creep spread going on, but viOLet's squeezed in a little bit extra economy, and XiGua going for a nice fast third base.
Well, likewise, over on the other side here for viOLet, so really toe-to-toe at the moment with how these builds are shaping up. But XiGua already burrow on the way. That is very, very early here to go up against what we're seeing from viOLet.
Fascinating choice. Looks like he might just want to use that for some, some micro shenanigans and so on. Heal up some roaches. Now, both players really have made this choice where it looks like they're saying, you know what, if I get to this roach phase, I am strong there. I can control my units really damn well. And I just want to fight you at that point of the game. Don't be fooled, though. Both players having a gentleman's agreement for the first few minutes. In the next minute or so, as this roach speed kicks in, as this +1 kicks in for both players, that's when we start to see the action really heat up.
Yep, of course. Both players want to try and just hit any windows that they can find. Already we're seeing a lot of roaches moving down towards the bottom there for XiGua to try and maybe start opening up the back rocks or something like that. But pulls a few of those back actually and decides he's not going to go all that way down after seeing the roaches move out towards the middle. Very important that he keeps himself well defended.
Both players posturing on the map right now. We have actually seen viOLet. He's up about 8 drones. So the fact that he's threatening with these roaches, he's forcing a bit reaction out of XiGua is massive. This is really great for viOLet. He's got that faster roach speed we talked about earlier. And look at this. It allows him to run up. He says, okay, I forced enough defense out of you. I forced a lot of roaches. That's all I wanted to do right away. I'm only going to take a fight if I think I can take one. Does choose to fight here, but I think that's more roaches for XiGua.
Yeah, it takes one at the front there, and that's going to be very, very close indeed. Especially with the transfuses coming along for XiGua, he should be able to push this back across the bridge. And will be fine for now with 9 drones being added on for him. But he managed to sneak a few roaches in at the back here and get himself some drones, which is not too bad.
Very nice pickup there for XiGua, of course, equalizing those drone counts now. Both players starting their ever-important +2 upgrade. viOLet also adding burrow, and XiGua has his mind set. He wants to open up this attack route on the south side of the map. He's already got some roaches split off down there, taking these rocks down, and if he can set up in this aggressive stance, it gives him such tempo on this map. We can see him sending more roaches around the top of the third base, and look at this. viOLet is being forced into a defensive stance, and we said this map's so good for attacking. If XiGua can get in that aggressive spot, it's so hard for viOLet to position himself.
It was a good attempt up towards the top, but obviously viOLet here is reacting well, having to separate up all of those roaches across both of these locations. But XiGua's next stage of the plan, tunneling claws here for the roaches. So looking to try and negate any kind of vision that his opponent would have of these little assaults trying to go into mineral lines.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to, of course, get that going. And when you've got as many attacker avenue routes as this one, you can keep your opponent pinned back. You can kill drones for so long with those tunneling claws. Meanwhile, viOLet, a little bit slower in heading down that route, still hasn't started the tunneling claws, and he's in a very defensive posture right now. viOLet feeling a little bit pinned back. Meanwhile, look at these roaches on the north side, burrowed, just waiting until violet's distracted, and then they'll pop up and run into that third base.
Yeah, do whatever they want in a moment, that's for sure, with that tunneling claws about to finish up. So XiGua position himself down towards the bottom here as well to just go for the old 1-2, the distraction tactics. He does see this under the Overlord, so he's going to have to move away, but actually he's going to sacrifice a few of these roaches because he was just a little bit slow on the uptake there. But
ooh, nice maneuver by viOLet, but that counterattack is going to come in. Both players getting on the map right now. XiGua going in, diving into this third base with a lot of roaches. Meanwhile, viOLet on the bottom side, he's not pulling back. viOLet saying, if you're going to attack me there, I'm going to push hard into your natural, and this is going to be a huge roach engagement on two fronts.
Yeah, this is really a big commitment here for viOLet. He's basically sacrificing a lot of what he's got at the back to try and go for the throat right now. Not doing too bad, but he's going to lose himself a lot of drones. Actually, he doesn't have an overseer there, so he won't be able to spot all those drones that actually burrowed. And XiGua pulling off all these drones off the line. Burrows again. And at the moment, I mean, nobody can see a lot of the things that they need to see.
Oh, and Overseer's about to finish there. Tunneling Claws is still too far away for viOLet. He's forced to unburrow in the midst of that army of roaches, losing so many. And this is such a hard position for viOLet. Not only has he lost drones, so he's down 5 workers, he had the entire worker line at his third base burrowed for so long.
Yeah.
And now XiGua is back on the offensive with a 30 supply lead. He is going to be able to pick viOLet apart. And viOLet needs to somehow be in the right position at the right time, but XiGua might not give him time.
Now, as we're going into the first-person view here briefly of XiGua, but looks like the resolution slightly mishapped there for a moment, so we're watching the zoomed-in version of these roaches trying to move on around for a while.
Yeah, and one of these players, you know, oh my god, XiGua pushing in really hard. We are seeing Tunneling Claw roaches skim into these bases. viOLet just doesn't seem to have the numbers to deal with this right now. And of course, XiGua, he's burrowing these roaches one at a time to heal them. Oh, look at this beautiful play from XiGua, getting on top of all these roaches.
It looks like these roaches just continuing to try and power on through at the moment. 92 army supply against 38 or so, as viOLet has very little left. GG, game number 1 goes to XiGua, and that will be a good victory for him there, just drawing viOLet all over the place.
Yeah, you know, an interesting decision, I think, from viOLet to sit back so much in the earlier stage. I think he gave a little bit too much space for XiGua, and XiGua was very patient, and he seemed to have a very clear game plan. He wanted to take down those back rocks all game. He wanted to attack from those multiple sides. We were talking about it at the start of the game. If you can get up in position, you can attack from all these different angles. He was the one with the earlier tunneling claws, the one who got the momentum on the map. And I think viOLet got trapped a little bit too much in the mindset of saying, well, I've been pinned back too long. Let's try and clump up and shove his army. We saw him catch some of those roaches on the south, but XiGua already had counterattacks set up all over the place, and so quickly violet's economy was shredded.
Yeah, well, that was a good start here for XiGua to kind of put himself back into the driving seat. And the problem is now for viOLet is if he does go out of this group in this position, I mean, what are we supposed to expect from viOLet? A guy who did look so menacing throughout a couple of years in StarCraft II has had a very rough 2015 so far after being one of the kings of the non-Korean location scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to go from, that position to suddenly, struggling a little bit. But he's got to pull it together here. He still has a chance. I mean, so far what we've seen from him is an attempt to go roach every game. And viOLet was saying earlier, sometimes he struggles a little bit in the mind games aspect of Zerg vs. Zerg. He feels like he doesn't quite have the same handle on it that he once did. And I think we can see it here in the fact that he's not really trying to put any early pressure on or early aggression. He's not trying to get any tempo. And because he's so predictable, I think his opponents seem to be a little bit comfortable in what they're doing.
All right, well, we are just now waiting a moment here while the players get sorted out for the next game.
Interesting point, actually, on the first-person view before is you got to remember that XiGua, you know, as an older player, a lot of these guys who've been gaming for many years are used to the older PC setups and layouts, and sometimes they still actually set their resolutions to the older ones.
Yes.
So you'll often get people. I remember back in the day, I think even iGuz once brought a CRT monitor to a LAN because he didn't want to play on the new resolutions. And
Oh my!
I've seen a few different players do this over the years, where they, even if they're playing on a brand new, beautiful, you know, 1920 1080p monitor or whatever, they're like purposely trying to put it down to like 1440 res or something like this because they're used to the old days.
Don't get me started on an old name that we had here in WCS for a long time, Baby Night, of all people, for so long, played in 4x3, and everyone's like, you can actually see more of the map or more of the screen when you play in 16x9. It's like, oh, I guess I should get used to that, and eventually he did. But anyway, let's get into game number 2 here. So we have viOLet facing off against XiGua. XiGua currently 1 game up. And we're moving on to Moonlight Madness. Haven't seen this for a while. As we have spawned down to the bottom left-hand corner, it is our blue Zerg representing Team Envious. It is viOLet.
He's 1 game away from going out last place, 0-4 in this group. A former many-time champion. He needs to bring it back here.
And spawning up to the top right-hand corner, our red Zerg representing Invictus Gaming. It is XiGua.
And XiGua looked really strong in that last game. He wants to make it happen here. I mean, a lot of the Chinese fans have been cheering for this guy for years. He's given them some of their greatest achievements in the StarCraft II scene, and he has another shot here. If he can go through to Poland, he might be able to make something special happen.
Dun, dun, dun! XiGua. He goes in for an early pool.
10 pool. Now, this is interesting. Moonlight Madness. I mean, let's try and talk quickly. Basically, where do you take your natural? Most players take it at the front because it's not threatened by the back rocks, but then it's vulnerable to something exactly like what XiGua is doing. A 10 pool into a fast gas, probably a 10 pool Baneling attack. So this is actually really scary if you take that hatchery at the front, but even if you take the hatchery on the back, your main base is quite exposed. So some players like to play really greedy on here. Fortunately for viOLet, though, opting for the safe option. He did it in the previous game. He's got this idea. I want to get to that Roach game, and it hasn't worked out the last few games, but I am a pro gamer. I am stubborn. I've practiced this style. I know I can do it better than what's been happening these last few games, and he wants to get there. So he's not going to give any opportunities to XiGua.
Let's see how this is going to play out already. 6 Zerglings in production. XiGua going to be able to get just a little bit of gas in where he can. There's the Baneling nest going down at the back. A very, very aggressive opener here from XiGua. Very often you see this not just transitioning at all and just looking for the insta-kill with this, but
yeah,
it's all about that control at the very end against no Banelings.
I mean, a lot of players call this, a huge advantage for viOLet, but he still needs to micro pristinely. 1 or 2 good Baneling hits, and this could be the end of his game here. He does already have 6lings in the way. He's seen the Zerglings coming. Looks like he's preparing very well. Needs to get a Queen started. Does kick that in now. And XiGua, he needs to get damage done with the first wave of Banelings. We're going to see him seeing that pool first. He's got to have his heart sink a little bit, knowing there's going to be Zerglings ready for him.
And all focus comes down to how well is viOLet going to be able to control his lings, moreover, how well is XiGua is going to be able to control his, because of the threat those Banelings do present. So already 4 Banelings morphing in quite a way away, and this is buying time for that Spine Crawler to morph in here for viOLet.
Oh yeah, viOLet knows exactly what's happening. He's already got that Spine. A Queen's about to pop. More Queens on the way, and look at this. He's splitting off his lings to intercept the reinforcements of XiGua. This is the perfect move from viOLet. Just bypass the Banelings, know that your extra lings popping out and your Queen will be able to deal with it, and the Ling Bane here, this is it. Its reinforcements are pretty much cut off. It has to make it happen. But all these Zerglings from viOLet so well spread out. Oh, he's got a Spine finish the Queen. As long as that doesn't get surrounded, he can whittle this down. Yep,
he's going to have to do something a little bit magical against this at the moment, and he's going to try and start working on the natural. This is usually when you see XiGua, who's in the aggressive stance, trying to go for that, going for a compensation move because he has drones started up behind it. So he's now looking to just try and even the odds as opposed to finish the game.
No, he still needs to get a bunch of drone kills here or get this hatchery down, one or the other. Oh, another Baneling gets shot down by these Queens. The Queen focus fire from viOLet is good. Another one goes down. His hatchery's getting very low, but all of the Zerglings just getting shut down, and XiGua's attack has come to a frightful end.
Very, very nicely done there by viOLet. Great read on this situation and great shutdown as well. And now XiGua Speed starts up, Queen's on the way. His natural, if ever it is to go down, will be very, very delayed. And it might just be a ball up of Zerglings and try and kill again.
Yeah, I'd say that's his best shot right now. Build a bunch of Lingbane and hope Violet doesn't block his ramp and transfuse his Spine Crawler, because Violet already has 3 Queens. So, of course, XiGua, you know, he sees how low that hatchery is at the natural. He's got to say to himself, you know, maybe I could take the hatchery down and then transition out of this expand. But Violet is playing this so safe, taking his back rocks down. He's just even putting a scout up there. And if he just blocks the front with Queens, with his second Spine Crawler, he's going to be rock solid defensive.
I mean, that's not the all-important knowledge. Oh, that poor guy.
My friends.
Me. But that's the all-important knowledge, right? That Overlord saw that there was still no natural. So, by proxy, he can just be like, well, okay then, you still don't have a base there? Although, technically, he could have taken it at the back.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's got to be running through Violet's head right now. He's saying, how all-in are you really going? Because, I mean, I know I'm really far ahead, but I don't want to give you any chance in this game. So, he may move another Overlord up to scout that at some point down the track, but for the moment, very important, this Overlord in the middle of the map where he's just scouting. He's adding his own Baneling nest even before Zergling speed. He knows with Banelings, there is no way he can die, so he's just droning up really hard. He says, even if you're going completely all in, I will be safe. And even if you're taking a natural, even if it's at the back, I don't know about it. Guess what? I'm droning so hard. You're not going to catch up in economy. I am completely fine.
Yep, it's all in on this. Lots and lots of Zerglings coming in. The wall's going to be completed. Third Spine Crawler going down as well here for Violet, who knows exactly what is coming now. And it is just mass Zerglings trying to crash on through here. Going to be very difficult. Already starts focusing down on one of these buildings, trying to open this up a little bit more. If he could get through, maybe he could do something. Banelings start morphing in. Maybe he could blow these up and try and push on through, because actually there's not that many Banelings here at all for Violet, but he still has a solid defense.
Oh, wow. He does manage to bust through finally, but so solid from Violet and just absolutely shutting everything down that game. Finally, the safe, solid opening pays off for him, and he takes his first win of the group.
Yep, good stuff to be able to lock down against that. XiGua obviously was looking for big damage early on there, and we preface that with, if you don't get it done, then what are you supposed to do? And we saw his alternate plan at the very end, which it's not exactly the biggest go-to gung-ho, I'm going to win this, because of how Violet was able to react well.
Yeah, I mean, Violet saw exactly what was coming his way, immediately reacted as hard as he could, did everything perfectly. His Zerglings bypassing to kind of cut off the reinforcements, pull the pressure away, buy more time, a Spine down instantly, like... There was no drones killed. You don't kill any drones with a 10-pull Baneling, and that's a really hard loss. But, of course, XiGua won't be too tilted by that. He went into that saying, I am 1 game up. Hey, guess what? If I'm a game up, I can take a risk. If I can get a free win here, that's going to be fantastic. I go through to that deciding match, and hey, we're happy.
We shall find out after the break who is going to be moving on to the deciders matchup, as we will have game number 3 between XiGua and Violet. Welcome back to the World Championship Series here, as that man on screen has a lot to make up for now. If he does not win this game, he will be the only Korean here in the round of 32 to not make it to the round of 16. That's a big, big thing here, considering the lineup of players we've got. And going on to game number 2, it's going to be Terraform, Pig.
Yeah, game number 3 here, of course, and it's always scary when the players are 1-1 like this, because this map's pretty good for early pools. We saw it last game, the super all-in-one come on a map which it's decent for, but this is a really fast rush distance on Terraform. So we're going to be diving into that momentarily, and it's going to be a scary one.
All right, yeah, you're right. Game 3, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner, it will be our blue Zerg representing Team Envious. It is viOLet. And then, spawning out of the bottom right-hand corner, we have our red Zerg representing Invictus Gaming. It is XiGua. Uh-oh, Pig. Uh-oh. Batten down the hatches.
Uh-oh, viOLet's going for an 8 pool. Very aggressive opening. We've seen him do this before. I was anticipating this actually in the first series when he played Terraform, but doing it here now in the clutch match against XiGua. This is fantastic against a hatchery first. Not very good against a pool first build. He really is committing hard. It's a lot more all in than a 9 pool, so he's hoping against hope that XiGua goes for the hatchery first build. Of course, XiGua here has no idea this is coming yet, and right now he's just got to be rolling those odds through his head, saying, do I play safe? Do I go for the pool first? Looks like he's going to go for the greedy option. He's going to go for that hatchery first.
Yeah, viOLet, having called XiGua's bluff here, might be getting the better end of it for sure. 6 Zerglings already in production before this hatchery even goes down, and another drone goes down for XiGua. How many are going to be in between this? Another drone starts.
Oh, looks like that earliest, and he's already rallying a drone to the gas, as Funka points out for us, and that drone is going to rally over there. It means he's going gas before spawning pool. This is the greediest opening in the book from XiGua, and he's dropping a pool now on 15, so it's not too late a pool, but he now sees Zerglings coming across, and this is an 8 pool. These Zerglings get in your face so fast. viOLet is probably going to build up to, I believe, 12 Zerglings. Ooh, cancels the gas. Very nice. Yeah, viOLet's going to build up to 12 Zerglings, which is a big pressure. He's not only going to aim to kill the hatchery, but he's going to aim to get in the main and waste a lot of mining time and kill a lot of drones as well.
Drone comes out hoping to buy some time here by the looks of things.
viOLet should not be chasing that drone.
Yeah.
He should not be pulling those lings back for that. That drone is effectively not mining for XiGua. It's a distraction drone. And
exactly.
It did a good job there. Ooh, already getting some nice damage on these drones. Good micro from XiGua. Trying to pull the weakened drones to the back. He needs to buy time. Oh, looks like just a couple of lings hitting the hatchery. viOLet wants to use these 4 lings to deny mining time. Waste as much time as they can. Kill some drones if possible, while the other ones kill the hatchery. But we do see a spine down for XiGua. 6 lings on the way.
Yeah, exactly. There's more lings about to come along with this here for viOLet. The spine has been cancelled. viOLet believes that he can do this without that spine crawler now that his 10 lings are in production, but he's going to lose the hatchery down here. And viOLet behind this has gone back to droning. So not looking for the full kill, just looking for to get some sizable damage done.
Yeah, we're seeing the big injector drones about to come out, so viOLet will kind of pull ahead in that drone count, and being ahead the hatchery is great. He's also got his gas mining, got 70 gas in the bank. XiGua's only just started mining gas. Ooh, lings engaging the middle of the map. viOLet taking a favorable concave, gets a nice trade on the Zerglings of XiGua. Nice turnaround, but XiGua's got reinforcements. viOLet can't fight that.
Got to back up now for viOLet, as they will end up running away. Do have the drone going back down to the natural here from XiGua, while these Zerglings do the ring around a Rosie. Can't really do much more than that at the moment. They're both the same speed.
You know the real killer here? viOLet has the information. He saw exactly when the gas went down in the main base, so he knows I'm ahead with ling speed. I can stay on this map as long as I want. These lings can run around threatening, and XiGua's got in the back of his head, is there going to be a fast ling speed? It could kick in at any moment. His lings do get in. He clicks on the gas geyser and he verifies, okay. He says, I think it's going to be coming pretty soon. He doesn't know exactly when, but we see him react. XiGua is saying, I can't afford to get Zergling speed. I've got to go Baneling Nest before Ling speed. This way, I should be able to hold on to my natural. And ooh, even going to take down the rocks.
Nice.
He just needs to buy time. He wants to stabilize his natural expansion.
Against any unit in the game, usually this can buy a lot of time. Against Lings, buys a little bit of time, of course, but they can swing around there once they have the Zergling speed and try and be over there pretty damn quickly. So still, XiGua not out of the woods just yet by any means.
Yeah, and I mean, we do see an expansion down, of course, for viOLet, not too far behind. So viOLet doesn't have to do an all-in damage here. He's already droning behind this, but this is a big number of lings. 24 Zerglings, his Baneling Nest is finished, and he's making his way across that map. Baneling's starting to morph for XiGua, but XiGua just doesn't have many units on him. He's actually going to be going for a slow Zergling counterattack, and because viOLet's only droning, ooh, this could kill a lot of drones or even cancel his natural hatchery.
Doesn't want to run up that ramp anytime soon here, otherwise he would lose. He already sees the Banelings there, separates a few of these lings off. One of them already gets the detonation on towards it, and he's going to lose the hatchery once again here. It's XiGua, viOLet fighting for his life at the moment in this group.
Baneling only killing 2 Zerglings there. The next one goes off on just only 2 Zerglings. The hatchery's going down. XiGua's counterattack needs to do massive damage, or he is just so far behind. viOLet pulls back to help deal with this. The lings running into the main, the queen getting into the gap, the Baneling coming in.
Good stuff there to be able to position that queen where it needs to be. That's a lot of damage doing to those drones, though, as these lings going to start going to work on as much as possible. The drones come off the line to fight for a moment, and the lings for viOLet are going back to put on some more pressure.
Oh, viOLet, he just wants to keep in XiGua's face right now. Such a great pocket micro with his drones before. Now his lings coming in, starting to engage, though. There's Banelings about to be morphed. Oh, nice pickup by viOLet.
Oh, he lost a lot there. A lot.
Oh, dealing with the Banelings in his own base that were morphing. You know, he deals with them nicely, but losing his Zerglings at the front at the same time, bit of a harsh loss.
So who really comes out on top? Is it viOLet with the fact that he has his hatchery now still up and running? It looks like he's doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, he did stabilize. I think really there was very close to losing about 10 drones to that Baneling, but he quickly pulled them all into that pocket, protected them from the surface area of the Zerglings. They had to run away. That was the key move. So viOLet's still even in drones, and he's got the natural hatchery. 2 queens injecting. He's actually rebuilding his Baneling Nest. Oh, he actually didn't have a Baneling Nest before. He was playing only Speedling. Oh, wow. So he's actually doing really well for himself right now.
Yeah, especially considering that fact. As for now, XiGua, as his Roach roaring on the way.
Whoa.
One ling splits off forwards. Always got to try and do that little micro trick in Zerg versus Zerg, but it can be harder for inexperienced players to make that happen. Obviously, these guys are pros, and when you see these splits go off against just one Baneling, it's a great trade if it detonates on just one Zergling.
Yeah. Oh, a Baneling there. I think there's a sneaky one of XiGua's going off. But look at this. viOLet wants to get some more damage done right now. He feels the lava advantage. He knows I got 2 hatcheries injecting, man. If I just keep putting pressure on, you're never going to get a chance to drone, to catch up on this natural. And if you try to defend with minimal units, which is exactly what XiGua is doing, I am going to punish you. I'm going to kill a lot of your workers.
Splits the Banelings up into 2 by 2. If you can get those into mineral lines, they can kill off the workers. So that's the big important move here for viOLet. There's already the focus fires going down on some of them there from XiGua. Good move. Oh, and another Baneling manages to crack open a lot of those Zerglings.
viOLet running around with his Banelings a bit too long. He had a big window to get in the worker line, but he just kind of ran his Zerglings around, and now there's... Oh, he's going to...
Doesn't even do anything with it. He may as well have used that Baneling for scouting for all we care at this point.
He killed 2 lava, but like he could have got the whole inject, and that would have been something. But it's a real waste of time there with his Zerglings. Not the best use of his units, but it doesn't matter because right now he is building a big group of roaches behind this. viOLet wants to finish this with a huge roach bane attack. However, XiGua is building roaches of his own, and he's only down 1 drone. XiGua looks like he might, with all those beautiful Baneling hits, he may be pulling himself back into this game.
Yeah, doing okay for himself. And with the amount of roaches we have coming across here, the Queen was trying to push away the Overlords so it wouldn't be able to spot them. Manages to find the drone that was maybe trying to sneak out to go towards a 3rd base, but the unit counts look pretty even at the moment here in this game.
Oh, XiGua was trying to hide his roaches, but he lost his queen. He was trying to hide the roach count from behind the natural because he actually wants viOLet to commit to this attack into his face right now. He knows he's going to have enough roaches to hang on. However, because there's a lot of Banelings morphing, they might be able to run past and either blow up in the middle of the roaches or on top of the drones.
Oh, Ling's trying to flood on forwards here, trying to get away from those Banelings. And the Banelings haven't done too much at all at the moment. 2 more are going to actually filter on through towards the top. Likewise, another few. But at the same time, the roach numbers here seem to be thinning for viOLet more so than anything, as he's trying to fight up against 13 roaches with 7, and they will have to fall back.
These are slow roaches. They don't reinforce quickly, but viOLet hasn't droned behind this at all. He's getting stuck on this one-track mindset of let's go kill him. I mean, he had a big advantage, but it's fading more and more. He's actually down in supply. He knows if that gold base gets up, he's going to be too far behind. He does cancel the gold. It's an important move, but he's losing so many roaches for it.
Yeah, this is tough. Really, really tough at the moment. 16 against 3. If the reinforcements continue to pile on here for XiGua, he will be able to seize this game. And now, viOLet in slight desperation mode is going to try and bring down these rocks, slow this army down from moving forwards. But this is very, very desperate. He needs to bring these rocks down. He needs to buy a little bit more time.
No, it's a very important kill there. His Zerglings now need to almost go and counterattack. I don't think he can just keep them here to defend. Does clean up XiGua's Lings. A bit of miscontrol there from XiGua. And viOLet is going to try and take his third. He's got an Evo chamber down. He needs to start some upgrades. But he's just so worried about this huge Roach deficit. And you can feel the pressure viOLet's under right now. He was in such a good position, but he can feel it slipping away. And XiGua looks like he's just so solid right now. He's actually starting +1 range and going for a full wall off to stop this Ling counterattack. What a nice move, but there's a gap!
Oh, he didn't have his queen in position and to be able to block that off. The cork was not in the bottle, my friend, and unfortunately he does allow that in. He gets himself 8 workers. This game is so crazy, back and forth, cancels the evolution chamber. He's like, well, what's the point in a wall if it's got holes in it?
I mean, great decision making from viOLet to come for that counterattack, but what a botch from XiGua, thinking he's done the perfect, clever wall off and just leaving that tiny gap. It's such a little mistake, but this is Zerg versus Zerg. Look at all that damage. A queen going down, 12 drones, losing mining time. Suddenly, viOLet is back in control of this game.
Does he even have a queen anymore? I think he might be down to... He doesn't even have any queens, and it's 3 queens against it, so he's going to have huge amounts of production here as viOLet for a little while. While XiGua, who is trying to replenish the queens, doesn't even have the money to replenish them at multiple at a time.
No, and he actually... XiGua cancelled his +1 range upgrade somehow in the midst of that fight. I think when he was I think when he canceled the Evo chambers, I think he selected all of them and accidentally canceled the upgrade as well. That's really bad because now viOLet's way up in that +1. XiGua only just restarting that upgrade right now. Nice counterattack though coming in for XiGua. Going to try and get this queen, but she plugs herself in the gap between the minerals. The cork is in the bottle this time, and she is going to survive.
Not going to allow that to happen. The lovely, lovely Lings are just going to flow on forwards and then be able to shut that down for viOLet to occur. 41 workers against 38. The third base up and running. The one slight saving grace is that XiGua will have a lot of minerals from that gold base, but maybe not for long as viOLet is moving into a position where he can snipe out some of those drones.
What a cute counterattack from viOLet. viOLet doesn't have roach speed yet, but he's still finding a way to dictate the pace of the game. Those roaches on the back of the third forcing mining off completely, and it's just so annoying for XiGua to have to deal with this. You know, viOLet doing a lot at a point in the game where he shouldn't really have map control. He's down in roaches. He doesn't have the roach speed, yet he's still dictating the pace. That pack of Zerglings on the south side is just so instrumental in keeping XiGua back right now.
Yeah, just always threatening that counterattack. You're totally right with that. It's very, very scary to deal with. And at the moment here, another slight counterattack here from XiGua, but it will be cleaned up very quickly by viOLet. And I'm wondering even what the roach numbers are at. We'll see after this. But as we do go back in and seeing what we have, 42 against 26. And that comes back to all those queens dying so early on. That was...
Well, actually, that XiGua still has more roaches just from the earlier roach count.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Because viOLet's been droning a lot. He's actually droned up his third. So viOLet's equal on supply, but these Lings need to pull a lot of the army home. They need to run around. He's trying to get around, but the roaches are in the way. Those Lings are too slow getting onto the third. He needs to get onto the gold base right now because those Lings are not going to help in the front-on fight. And I'm not sure if viOLet has the roach count to defend here.
I mean, surely if XiGua, if he doesn't do the damage he needs to do, that's it. He doesn't have the economy to fall back on. And now viOLet is going to take this fight with a favorable concave, but not necessarily the numbers. Let's see how this is going to play out.
He doesn't have the numbers, but he does have the spine. The other spine's rooting, the queen helping out in the back. And meanwhile, the Zerglings are ravaging the third base. All the drones are being routed. This is all or nothing for XiGua. XiGua needs to break through here or he is dead. He's still got a big roach ball, but more roaches filtering in for viOLet.
Yeah, reinforcements coming along as well. The drones come off the line. viOLet is looking to win this one, looking to keep his hopes alive as he will push back this army. And still the Lings are on the gold base. They've been able to kill everything off. They're going to get the hat-trick as well. And that's a big, big pickup here for viOLet.
No, that's got to be the game-ending maneuver. viOLet now in a commanding position. He's here, and look at this. This attack from XiGua attacking into a superior roach count.
GG. viOLet will be able to take the series 2-1 and keeps his hopes alive. Moving on to the decider match here in Group H.
Such a big win. Oh, it's such a back and forth game. I mean, both players have to be a little bit shaky after that one. viOLet getting in such a great position from that opening, but there was that point attacking into Roaches with your own Roach Bane. It was just a little bit of an unfortunate timing. It was the anti-timing, but viOLet pulled it together with those Zergling maneuvers. He took down the rocks to buy time, started counter-attacking this way and that. Beautiful play.
Very, very well done to keep himself alive here. And viOLet, obviously, commiserations here to XiGua, and that means that we will have no Chinese players moving over to Poland for the finals. So
that really is sad because obviously, China has been such a strong region historically in WCS. WCS America, of course, was where the Chinese players were competing last year in 2013, and they were often the top non-Korean players in those leagues. We had players like Jim, like Tude Ming, and XiGua all doing very well there. So it's not been their season, but I'm sure next one they'll be back strong.
I think so as well. Well, that does it from us here for now. We have 2 more series to come here in the World Championship Series round of 32, but for now, let's head over to the analysis desk.
Thank you very much, Kalaris. Joined here with viOLet and, of course, Todd. You've picked up a victory today. You've survived in the group. I saw you shake your head now and also once the game finished. Why?
Because I play so bad.
You're not impressed with your performance today?
I'm impressed about how bad I am today. But I keep trying, do my best. So now I have one more chance for me. So I need to calm down, a little chill for the next game.
Is there something you can credit to not playing very well too? Do you know what the reason for that is?
Are you tired? I saw you yawning many times.
I'm always like yelling about the traveling because after I accident in Korea a few months ago, when I took an airplane, I headache so much. So that's why I'm yelling about traveling, and I'm still very tired. But it is the best tournament, so who don't wanna miss it? So I don't know, just still tired and shaky. And ZvZ my worst matchup, so I was really, really nervous. But last game I almost lose, so everything just blew my mind. But I need to keep strong.
The next match is either going to be Tilo Ezug or, of course, Mana Protoss. Is there a preference that you prefer to play just Mana because you don't want to play another Zerg versus Zerg?
Actually, my worst matchup is ZvZ, and Protoss I think Protoss is strong, but still not bad for me. So I don't care who's come, but if Tilo come, I will revenge.
Okay. Todd, final question here.
Yeah, last season, during the season finals in Toronto, you were taking part in the Red Bull Battlegrounds tournament, and I remember when I spoke with you, I could feel it or see in your eyes that you really wanted to be playing at the finals there. So how important is it for you here to try and qualify for the round of 16 in Poland?
WCS, I never had good results so far. And then, it's the #1 biggest tournament for StarCraft II, so definitely I really, really want to do, but I'm just, in Toronto is not far, and my condition was really good, so you can see my feeling from my eyes, but now you can't see. But I really want to win.
Okay, I trust you.
All right, thank you very much, viOLet. We'll give you some time to get ready and rest up for the decider match. You'll be playing that after we finish with the winners match, which is coming up next. It's going to be Germany versus Poland. Teammates go head-to-head. It's time for Tilo versus Mana.